Raza Malik, and welcome back to another episode of Same Shit, Different Day. I'm joined by my co-host, who's above me.
Yeah, Bayley Nargang. Hi,
He
Bayley.
did it again. We discussed it, and he did it again.
That time. I thought I was on board.
And then featuring the great.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me more intro.
No, I was.
Normally you always tell me how great I am, and then I get to say
I ran out of
me.
words. I ran out of
it's
words.
Okay. It's okay.
Words.
It's me. It's Wine Mom. I'm here. We're gonna have a good time. Welcome to the party.
And then before I continue, I do a fun fact about Wine Mom. Like, you know, Atlas Shrugged?
Oh my gosh.
That's literally like, you know, the dude holding up the planet?
Oh, the big ball? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are the dude holding up the big planet, and me and Bailey are the big planet. So, credit to you for that one. I don't know where I was going with that. Talking jazz hands, right?
Jazz hands.
I was gonna go with that. Today we're talking about both of my hosts' greatest fear, the open water, particularly the deep ass sea. If you know that the water, or not water, the ocean is a scary ass place, and how scary you may say, you may say, like quite terrifying. Like, you know, 95% of the planet's surface is covered in water, and we've only discovered what, like 5% of it or something?
Did you say 95%?
95% of much of the planet's surface is the deep ocean and stuff. So
95% of the surface.
I can't.
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna learn some stuff.
Bailey, are you Googling it? Are you confirming facts?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I'm confirming. He seems to be correct because it's like I didn't consider like the surface is technically like the bottom of the ocean, right? So
yeah,
definitely right. And then looking at this shit, it's like I also didn't consider as a history and geography geek that is like shit. None of it's mapped. God damn. Like they have no idea what it looks like down there. They're just like guesstimating.
No.
Like, oh yeah, there's ocean. There's ocean. You know, there's a floor down there somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. We assume it ends, but we don't know where.
Honestly.
So how about we talk about you know, the depth, like what happens at certain ranges and stuff. So I went a little bit too off on this. I admit I got almost a hefty amount of stuff on what a lot of fearful stuff going on that made me have a mini existential crisis and stuff. So we will continue and make sure you guys have the same experience that I did.
Not me.
It's all right.
I won't fall into your trap.
My trap card. All right. So how deep is the ocean? Well, at 40 meters deep, you can recreationally scuba dive. And that's the limit. Otherwise, you have to get specific gear and equipment to go a little deeper than that. At 93 meters, you'll find the Louisiana, a cruise ship that was sunk by a German U-boat in World War I, and that was before the Titanic. I think.
Yes, it was.
It
was the reason they joined the war.
No, was it before? Yeah, it was. Okay. What a funny reason. At 100 meters, it starts to get dangerous. Scuba diving for scuba divers because of decompression sickness. So that happens when the pressure of the water, I think, contracts or like goes on your body, or not goes on your body, but like it fucking what?
So what that is because when you go down, the nitrogen in your body compresses, right? So then as you swim up, you have to take your time because then otherwise it's like as you're coming up, literally the nitrogen in your blood will expand and you'll just kind of like pop from the inside.
Oh, gross.
Yep, it's very gross. It's very gross and very scary.
Raza. Oh, gross.
Okay, I'll challenge that, Bailey. However, lost my notes. However, I lost my.
However, in
or is it- oh
19
yeah,
something.
no. However, Herbert Niche went down 214 meters on a single breath, setting the
Yes.
deepest free dive record and stuff. And when I found that out, I was like, you know how deep that is? That's still pretty deep. It's like he probably has massive lungs. I don't know how free diving stuff works, but I think they're all heroes.
Free diving is no tanks, just
Yeah,
a
I know.
wetsuit.
I know. It's like he took one breath and then he jumped down and stuff. Yeah.
One deep breath, went all the way down, and then turned around and came back up.
Yeah, that's
wild.
That is some hippie shit that I always think about. Those humans that do that free diving, that's some of that like superhuman Spike TV stuff of like how
like
the
free
fuck
climbing
like,
too.
Yeah, you can train your body to not have to breathe for 3 minutes. That's fucking wild.
I know. Parkour. However, the scuba diving record is 332 meters by a guy named Ahmed Agaber. So there are certain things you can do at certain limits without hurting yourself. At 443 meters is the height of the Empire State Building. And if you submerge it, that's where it'll be and stuff. So I thought it was taller, in my opinion, but I guess not. Which is okay. And 500 meters is also the reach of the maximum depth of blue whales to dive at. So. And they can come up, and creatures can go. There's certain creatures that go deeper, but when they go, they need to do it like once in a while and stuff. Otherwise, the pressure will still kill them and stuff. And it's also the limit for the U.S. nuclear submarine, the Seawolf.
So 500 meters or what?
500 meters. Yeah, it's the same.
Jesus fuck. So that's as far as submarines can go. It's like 500 meters.
Yeah.
And the sea is like literally like 10,000 meters.
Well, that's not the deepest.
No.
That somebody's gone. It gets better, Bailey.
Yeah, it gets way better.
The deepest is like your average submarine. That's why it's like average.
No. It gets better. Okay. Keep listening.
I'll shut up.
Okay. All right.
No, don't shut up. But I'm just saying, wait till he tells you what really goes on in the water. How far people have actually been.
I'm ready.
So at 535 meters is the depth dive for those emperor penguins, like those big ones and stuff. They can go down there. So to put it in context, the water pressure at that point is like a polar bear standing on a quarter. We are the quarter and stuff. So it's very heavy.
A penguin can take that? That's cool as fuck.
Yes. I know.
Like that.
Emperor penguin. The
big ones.
The big ones. At 830 meters is the height of the Burj Khalifa. The tallest building in the world. So here comes the interesting stuff. So at 1,000 meters, this becomes what in the science community the deep sea, or is what I like to call the scary zone. Light doesn't come through at all, and it is permanently dark. The water pressure here is the same as if you're on a Venus, so you'll die almost instantaneously. If you make it through this area, you will meet a giant squid, or the giant squid. So, and then you're gonna have fun with that and stuff.
So that's what gets the creepy part about that section, like the deep that you're saying there, right? Like before we're even like deeper in the ocean. Like already at this base level you're talking like
10,000.
giant squid level? Yeah, 10,000?
Yeah. Sorry, 1,000.
We're already talking animals who like have no bone structure, right? Because they need to be able to handle that shit. So that's what scares me. When we talk like 10,000 and as you go on with this story, it's like, wow. Like, okay, if it's already at 1,000 feet, they have no bones, then what the fuck do the ones look like that are at the bottom of this shit?
It's more shocking.
Yeah, it gets like even worse and stuff. Bailey's in for a nightmare. I hope he's like,
I'm gonna Google some giant squid photos right now. Let's get
All right, cool.
Oh gosh.
So these giant squids can grow up to 12 to 13 meters, and of course is one, and the best part, guys, they exist in almost every single deep water location on the planet. So we live near the Atlantic Ocean, right? And so if we just go deep down there, we can swim with the giant squidaroos and stuff.
Thank you. I'm good.
So, Raza, I have one question from your research that the Disney Channel, that my outdated Disney Channel information has not answered.
Okay.
There was, when I used to watch the Disney Channel, the reason I was obsessed with this shit as a kid, right, is because they kept saying that no one's ever seen a live one. Has anyone seen a live one yet?
Yeah.
A live giant
squid. A live giant squid?
Yeah, it's come up, like, they've got it, like, they have taken pictures of it. Apparently some has come, in Japan, they have done some research on a live one and stuff. So, like, people have actually had encounters with them, and they aren't on the if you go on the it's like vulnerability thing, they are least vulnerable. So it's gotten to the point where scientists can actually classify them and stuff as they've already figured out.
People started seeing them in the last decade, and then according to this article, the first one caught on video was from 2019.
Yeah, so there you go.
Still very cool. That's a cool development, because that was the whole Disney Channel enticement that got me hooked.
There could be a difference though, because there's a giant squid and a colossal squid. The colossal squid, I'm not sure if people have. Wait till you get to that one though, Bailey. Wait till you get to that one.
I'll shush. Go ahead.
All right. We're okay. So, at 1,280 meters, which is the maximum dive depth of leatherback sea turtles. Those turtles that
shells.
Well, they have shells, and they're the bigger ones. It's always the bigger species of the species.
Which, like, they should not be able to do that because their shells are basically like a bone, so they shouldn't be able to do that.
But they can.
There they are.
They are. Yeah.
Swimming around at the bottom of the ocean.
So creepy.
Hey, wine mom.
Okay, not the bottom. Yeah.
Of the ocean.
We're like barely in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. At 18. Yep.
Go. Oh, well, I was just sorry for interrupting.
It gets deeper.
It does get deeper. I was just thinking, if the turtles are that deep, and everyone around there, like the giant squid, is mad scary. Like everyone down near that ocean depth is mad creepy. What does the leatherback turtle do? Is he just like chilling?
He's chilling, like vibing. What they mean, dude, is a dive depth. They don't stay down there. They go like this or like.
I get that, but you look at this little fucking turtle here. Like, where the hell?
I know.
What is he gonna do? He's helpless. A giant squid with tentacles can just like wrap him up in seconds, and he's just gonna kind of.
That's assuming, right? But that's assuming that's what he wants, right? That he's actually interested in eating the turtle, and that the turtle lingers long enough.
Yeah, right. It's assuming they don't have some sort of communication.
And you know what's interesting? The giant squid isn't even the predator, the main predator. Like. It also gets hunted by the sperm whale.
Oh, shut up. I just had that thought. I was like, what the hell does the turtle even do down there? I didn't know the turtle could
Just
go that
chills.
deep, but what does he do?
What the hell does the turtle do down there? I don't know. Swim, maybe.
Hang out, yeah. At 1,800 meters or 1,828 meters, you'll reach the deepest point of the Grand Canyon if it were underwater.
The deepest point of the Grand Canyon. That is absolutely fucking bonkers. When I saw that in the video, I was like, no.
Yeah, that's kind of that actually kind of scared me. I was like, how fucking deep is that then? God damn.
But the thing is, like, that's not even the deepest, though.
No, that's how scary it is. Like, we're already at 2,000, and we're already getting freaked out. We're just we've only reached the deep sea surface of the deep sea. At 2,000 feet, you will start to see different sea creatures, like the black dragonfish. If Bailey can pull it up, I will go slow for him.
Dragonfish? Yeah, I got you.
The black dragonfish. Now, the deeper you go, the more darkness there is. So the black dragonfish lives up to his name. You won't see it at all because its stomach doesn't let anything emit light out of it. So when it eats it, everything stays in its stomach. The only way to see it is with a flashlight or a light. If you down there,
you can see their eyeballs, but that's all you can see.
Yeah, like
you need a flashlight to actually see them. Yeah.
Yeah, up close and stuff. And
so they just be lurking, invisible, basically.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
It is. It looks like an alien. It looks like an alien from Alien.
The deeper you go, the more, as Bailey said, the more boneless the creatures get, and a lot of them produce their own light, like the thing hanging down.
The anglerfish.
Yeah, the anglerfish is one of them, but there are several others that also produce.
Yeah, this guy's
got. Yeah, but the anglerfish. Oh my gosh, the angler. The anglerfish specifically is known for that in lots of like TVs and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Fish that does that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Even this creepy guy though, he's got one off his chin. He's got a little.
Even this creepy guy.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, they're
Tony.
creepy. Even Tony. Yeah.
Well, even Tony. Where am I? At 2,250 feet, you will reach the maximum dive depth of a sperm whale and the colossal squid. The sperm whales are often found with battle damage, which is evidence of them having giant fights at these depths with the colossal squid.
Yes.
Isn't that out of a movie?
Horrifying to me.
So this is at 4,000? Where is this?
This is at 2,000 feet, over 2,000 feet.
Man. Are you sure it's 2,000 and not 200,000?
2,250 meters. Sorry, meters.
Oh,
sorry.
there we go.
This is according to the graphic that I got pulled up on stream that I'm looking at because 2,000 is like nowhere near deep, and then it's where it's already pitch black, like there's no light. It's fucked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Bailey, the Haldal zone. I get into that, and you will know why it's named that. The colossal squid can grow up to 14 meters long and has eyes as big as a dinner plate and sharp blades on their tentacles. So it's one of the ones that can actually pull a bigger thing in and just fuck it up. So, at 3,800 meters, we can find the wreck of the Titanic, and that's how deep it went, which is pretty fucked. I did not know that. I thought it went. I didn't know that area was deep as like that. The Atlantic side.
That's why like many people haven't gone back since fucking James Cameron, because it wasn't just the movie was the money needed to send the stupid little thing down, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like really expensive to send something that deep. So like many people haven't visited the Titanic again because it's like fucking thousands of
And
meters below this shit.
It's actually going. It's being in like the next 100 years. There won't be the Titanic there anymore because it's being eaten up by the ocean, literally. So,
The world is
R.I.P.
scary,
again.
So
Yeah.
my other side theory here, again with thinking too much about animals, is what creeps me out thinking about this is like people are saying that like octopus, like octopi might be like intelligent, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as we're looking at this chart, right, the octopi are hanging out at like 1,000 meters and we think they might be intelligent. Like they're hanging out at the top of this shit and we're going like, oh, you might be able to think on the same level as us. So what the fuck is going on at the bottom?
Just a lot of like
thinking.
Stuff.
How many of them can think down there then? You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't like that idea. If we can admit that like maybe a fucking octopi like that can think, then who knows? Who knows the discussions they're having down there?
Well, yeah.
Well, what?
But I don't think they're any real threat. They can't come out. They can't survive outside of the water, so I wouldn't be too worried.
Well, Miss Capitalism, I don't think that other intelligent creatures are out to kill us immediately, and that we have to dominate.
No, I'm just saying they're in the ocean. I'm pretty sure they're busy doing other things. They're trying to
Like
figure out how to
octopuses.
become a civilization. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want to come up here and fuck with us on the land. It's gross up here.
I'm teasing
We'll
at that.
fuck right back. Yeah.
I love the movie trope that it's like, oh yeah, they're smart, so they must be coming to kill us. It's like,
Yeah, I like how that in Godzilla, well, like in Godzilla King of the Monsters, where he's doing his when the first monster appears, and then you see Godzilla doing his like fins are glowing, and they're like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's his intimidating tactic." Oh, therefore he must be intelligent. He knows what's going on. Almost like he's a giant lizard. All right, that's all he's doing. He's animal shit. That's all he's doing. He's not smart. He's not smart.
Okay.
All right. Where did I get? Okay, so at 4,000 feet is what is called the abyssal zone, which is like what we think is the ocean floor.
It's easier to say than you think. I think it's abyssopelagic.
Abyssopelagic.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an idiot then. But abyssal zone, for you simpletons like me out there, is like the area that we think it's the ocean floor because it looks like the ocean floor, but it's not the actual. It's like
right.
Because what they have discovered is that the ocean floor isn't actually flat; it's sloping and stuff.
Well, the ocean floor, yeah. I'll let you
continue. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. At 4,200 meters is what you would think is the ocean floor, but it's not. Here you will, and then you go down to 4,791 meters, and you'll reach the wreckage of, I believe it's the German battleship Bismarck, which was sunk during World War II. So there's a whole bunch of human littering down there.
I'm trying to find the name for you while you're talking.
All right. And then at 6,000 meters is what scientists have called a Hadal zone, which is named after Hades, the underworld. The reason why is, from my understanding of the research, is that in Hades nothing can escape, right? So in the Hadal zone, nothing can leave, because if it leaves, it dies, because it's so it's so used to that atmosphere.
The atmosphere, the pressure, the environment with no light.
Yeah.
Right? There's like a million things there that it would get fucked up as soon as it came out.
And the Hadal zone is like many trenches in the near the Marianas Trench and around it and stuff.
Yeah. So also don't forget that just below that is the height of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how deep it is.
We'll get to that one month. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. All right.
So there's but have there? I doubt like maybe you have this answer, but like the little robots, right? Like our little diving robots have only ever
just wait.
Okay.
Yes, just wait. The water pressure at 6,000 feet, guys, is at the same as if it was the water pressure at this point is 100,000 times what it is right here. It's like an elephant balancing itself on a post-it note. That's what the water pressure is like.
A stamp.
A stamp. Yeah, a stamp. At 6,500 meters, you'll reach the lowest point the DS Alvin can go, which is a deep sea research machine that first discovered the Titanic. That's your question. Answer, Bailey.
Thank you. That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's literally like two-thirds of the way we've only gone. We've only gone 2/3 of the way. There's literally a whole third. And they're saying there's like a whole group of creatures that exist in the Heidel region that we don't understand or know exist because we haven't gone that deep. There's a whole fucking 2,000 other meters after that. So what the fuck is happening down there?
Okay, so 8 guys, so now we are at 8,438 meters, which is height of Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Isn't that terrifying? And then James Cameron reached the known depth of the Challenger Deep, which is the deepest point of the Marianas Trench. It is about 10. So he reached 10,898 meters in a solo submersive dive. And Bailey, if you can look up the James Cameron submarine or the craft that he took it down, it's like this yellow thing that he took down, and that right there, it's this. He took it straight down, and it's jokes because he didn't even beat the record. The record was placed in 1960 by two dudes, Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard, who went down 10,000 meters. Over 10,915 meters.
How did you miss the Star Trek reference? You missed the Star Trek reference.
Piccard, I know, Piccard. All right,
thank you. That's literally the character's named after him.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, it's named after Picard, because Picard has the deepest depth, and Picard's the Jean-Luc Picard, Jacques Picard. There's the whole.
That's really cool. I didn't know that at all. I'm not a Star Wars.
Sounds nerd stuff.
It does actually, but it's kind of cool. It took them 5 hours to get down to 10,915 meters, and they only stayed for 20 minutes because a window was cracked, and they had to go up.
Yeah, the other guys, not James.
Not James Cameron. The other dude.
But James Cameron was able to take like pictures and stuff down there.
And he was able
were
to
never taken before.
Yeah, and he said he didn't see anything. There was like shrimp down there. There was a niche. It was just darkness, like my dreams.
That's like, honestly, I'm having a mini panic attack of the idea of like being in a little tiny craft like that, and I've seen the inside of it of him like trying to control it. It looks like little kid, like he has little kid hands with like little tiny controllers, like little joysticks, and he's just like going side to side with these little tiny baby control sticks, like in the bottom of the darkest ocean. 5 hours descending.
I see that stuff, and I would get like claustrophobic because I know if this thing compresses on itself, I'm gone.
I'd be like, bring me up, bring me up, bring me up, bring me up, bring me up.
Please be up. Please be.
I think this whole shit also says something about, like, I'm not getting on a high horse rant. It says something about science that, like, James Cameron, we need a rich movie producer to be the one to be like, yo, I'm the one who's going to explore this shit. Yeah.
But see, I hear you, but I think the thing is just that people are just not, they just don't want to go down there, I think is what it is. I think there's just so much fear, and he was just like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because like it hasn't been done since like what 1960.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's crazy.
So the depth of the ocean is called the Challenger Deep.
Challenger Deep. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the name of the ship, the Challenger.
Yeah.
10,927
meters.
Okay, so
no thanks.
At 10,927 meters is what commercial airplanes fly at. So when you're looking out of looking out of the thing, of the window,
yes,
that's how deep we are now. All right, that's terrifying. Yeah, at 10,994, we get to the known bottom of the ocean called the Challenger Deep, which is the deepest part of the Marianas Trench near Guam. So get this, guys. This blew my mind. If Mount Everest was in the Challenger Deep, it would still need over 2,000 meters to reach the surface.
Jesus Christ, yeah, because that's what this one graphic was showing me. I was waiting for you to say that. I was like curious on that. Yeah, because it says the map I'm looking at says it's almost like 12,000 meters. I was wondering if you're going to get there. That's fucking terrifying. Again, the same math of if there's octopus on top. If there's octopus on top and we're going like, yo, you might be at the same level as us. What? At 12,000 meters, like it's literally a different world. Like it's literally not functioning based off of the same physics that we operate on.
Oh, yeah, hands down. Hands down. It's like a different... It's
like space, basically. It's, except in the middle of the ocean. Like, in the middle of the planet. It's like space. That's what it always... Whenever this kind of stuff happens, it always makes me think about the people who have tried to get to the center of the Earth before. Who've, like, gone through the expedition of, like, digging through to the center of the Earth.
Yeah.
Like how were they able to do that? Because I imagine that the center of the Earth has similar, like, I guess, living conditions as the depth of the ocean, except with more oxygen, obviously, because they're opening a giant hole.
Yeah, and it's also because it's I believe it would be the same, like the same elements present in the deep ocean would also be present in the core too. So it would be hard.
Lack of oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a thing where if you go a certain depth into the Earth, that you need to take something with you to breathe. I know that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like when you go cave diving and stuff like that. Like not even swimming, just like going in. Like I guess you would call it splunking. When you go into caves.
What you mean? Yeah. When you just like I've seen that. Yeah. I've always wanted to do that, but I'm like afraid of heights and stuff.
Yeah. It would be fun.
Yeah, so the deepest hole ever dug was 23,000 feet by the Russians.
Oh shit! Okay. Is it called a Gateway of Hell? I think they have a name.
It's called the Kola Well. It's the deepest hole.
Okay, so what is that in comparison to the diagram that we have with the ocean?
The diagram that we have with the ocean is double with the ocean.
There you go.
It's like literally they just dug it was like a oil drill, so it's like not even like you can't do the exploring shit like James Cameron did. It's literally just a straight hole. So it's nowhere near as exciting.
What? I mean, it's still exciting because like they were trying.
Sounds terrifying.
Get down there somewhere.
Because the Russians were trying to see how deep until you hit either a chasm or you start hitting like molten lava, and the Russians in their territory dug like that far down to try to see if they get anything, and then they eventually gave up at 23,000 because it took so much metal. Like if something broke along the way, they gave up on trying after that. Pretty much.
At that point that they gave up, may as well just keep on going then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we've dug a hole as large as the Empire State Building 4 times over. I think it's time to quit.
Yeah, that's your bar? Like, come on. Okay, so I'm basically almost done the depths of it and stuff. Because this is how... in 97, the Serenia Deep was discovered with a depth of 10,732 meters, making it the second deepest point in the ocean and located near the Challenger Deep and stuff. So technically, guys, we don't know if the Challenger Deep is the deepest point of the ocean because we're finding areas that are deep, not as deep, but like then that as a question, is there deeper? So yeah, I don't think that there is. So before I get into the next part of this, which is a mini part, what do you guys think about that?
My thought. Sorry, go ahead, Bailey.
I'm reminded of this like funny story I had when I was in high school, and I had an argument with a religious person because
typically Bailey.
They tried to argue that the existence of like worms on the bottom of the ocean, like the worms that live off of like the CO2 shit, they tried to argue that the fact that there's life at the bottom of the ocean was like existence of God. And it's like, if anything, that's like way more confusing. Like, you just made your own argument way more confusing, because wasn't the whole thing that like God made life in the image of himself? Yeah, in the image of man.
Right.
So like, how the fuck do these worms at the bottom of the ocean prove that you're right with your Jesus guy? I had this whole funny memory of like the mysteries of the depth. And like, no matter what, like people are gonna try to take it and then like flip it to prove like, oh yeah, my God exists, because clearly like there's shit living down there, so he must be grateful and kind. It's like,
God did this. I don't think they're living in grateful and kind conditions.
God created the fucking what's that? The fucking God created that black dragonfish. Yeah, God created that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but my thought is always whenever I talk about like the depth of the ocean, because this is the first thing I thought when you brought it up, and I started to watch that video that you left for us.
Yeah.
I thought about the sea creatures that come from very deep parts of the ocean that are kept at the zoo.
Yeah.
Like,
I always thought about that.
How are you keeping those animals? Like, even if it's just a few thousand feet, because they do have some animals that are from, you know, like, you're talking about like squids and jellyfish and stuff like that. Because I'm assuming they're boneless, so they must be deep in the ocean. So how are they surviving happily, being like way above the ocean, technically? Like,
they're like in pain, swimming the entire time. There's too much light. God damn it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's way too much light. How do you control the pressure in the water? Like, what sort of quality are you how are you keeping these animals up here?
Then again, they shouldn't be keeping animals because
period, right?
Big no.
But how are you doing it?
Yeah, that's a very.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's actually a good question.
They can pressurize some of those tanks, and then if not, they put the amount of nitrogen in the water, like they make the water have the same concoction it would have if it was that deep. I know that for squidsies. I don't know about the other ones, because I've seen the little anglerfish and shit. I know squidsies are adaptable though. So.
But what I'm thinking about is the fact that like fish hobbyists own jellyfish. How are we allowing the general public to be responsible enough as a hobbyist to own a jellyfish? And like, because I'm assuming we can't know their pain threshold because they can't communicate. So it's like, what kind of suffering are these animals really going through? Like, that was my thought process. That's my not eating meat brain, but
I support that. That's a good thought that I think a lot of people don't have, though. I think that's important to say, because, like, they're probably chilling at way above, like, even if we do have the tanks pressurized or whatever the fuck, it's still, like, clearly thousands of meters above what they usually hang out at. So no matter how much we try to treat the tanks, they're still not going to be, like, at their most favorable spot. So
which I guess I could assume, like, with any form of like domestication of any animal, that there would have been some sort of adaptation at some point along the genetic line, right? But I still think, like, if your genetics are your genetics, like, it's one thing if a cat, like, you know, maybe a barn cat, you get a barn cat that has the dew claw, and then it suddenly, as it breeds on, it stops having that dew claw. You can understand why that happens, because it's not hunting that food anymore, so it doesn't need it. But with something like a jellyfish, how do they suddenly just decide, okay, we now breathe at very shallow waters?
So
it's sometimes not even shallow water. Yes, Raza, go ahead.
I'm reading it here. Jellyfishes can survive in both deep waters and surface waters. They're highly adaptable.
Hey, how are they always dying on the ocean then?
Oh,
when they get too high, they're always dead on the shores.
That has something to do. That has something to do with the inability, like the currents. I don't know exactly. I would have to research myself. It has something to do with like because they don't have a lot of pushing power. They get swept up and shit.
I still feel like,
but it's
not comfortable for them. They must not be very happy.
I would agree. I would probably agree. There's no way that they're definitely comfortable doing their thing. But like the idea.
No animal was comfortable in a zoo. Period.
Exactly.
So it's making
well, right.
Exactly. That's the primary point there. But it's like because if you've got like look at a spider, look at a rat, look at raccoon, all those animals who can like condense their body to like the size of a quarter or like a really flat thing, right? As soon as you let the pressure off, it's way more manageable. So like a jellyfish can live at the top, but it's a very good question I never thought of. It's like, are they more comfortable at, like, you know, where's their comfort? Where's a squid can survive at the visible levels that we see it or that we could fish it out, but maybe he's like most cozy doing his shit at like fucking 5,000 feet deep. You know what I mean? Like,
well, because the whole point of the zoo is to replicate their natural habitat. So what I'm wondering is like, how are they accurately replicating their natural habitat in a way where they could comfortably live? Because they can't even do that with like polar bears and elephants and giraffes. So like, how are you doing that with a fish that requires specific depths of water?
So here jellyfish are displayed in many public aquariums. Often the tank background is blue and the animals are illuminated by side light, increasing the contrast between animal and the background. In natural conditions, many jellies are so transparent that they're invisible. Professional exhibits, as in Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is in California, features a precise water flows, typically in circular tanks, to avoid trapping specimens. They live in jelly cans. The outflow spread out over a large surface area, and the inflow enters as a sheet. I think they tailor the thing to the specific needs of the specific species of the jellyfish.
Right.
Essentially, I think.
No, that makes sense.
But
that makes sense.
We just, that's fair. I guess.
But here,
it's not fully fair because you're still right, Wine Mom. That is still like we have no idea where it's most comfortable. Like we may be making it have a livable condition.
Well, to add on to Wine Mom's point, jellyfish are not adapted to closed spaces.
Yeah. There we go. See, and you're key. They're often, and this is the thing. I know, like, this is not what we're talking about, but I think because I've been watching a lot of like hobbyists and like fish hobbyists lately on YouTube because I'm really into like tankscapes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because there was somebody who had jellyfish and they're kept in like tubes, and it's like, how is that? Because they have like the ocean is huge. It's like a huge life they get to live out there. So like, how is that enough? Even just like when you think about with betta fish can technically live in a very shallow like puddle, but is that really a quality of life? And people always put them in like a half-gallon tank when they technically need 5 to 10. So it's like, you know,
that shit. I hate that shit. The people who buy betta fish and keep it in one little jar just because it can live
like
there.
a bottle. Like, no, they can't actually live there. It causes their fins to like stiffen and rot, and they can't swim, and because they can't exercise enough and relieve off stress, and that's why you need to get bigger tanks, people.
Do jellyfish? Okay, so jellyfish have no brain, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
they
but
have no brain.
Technically.
So here it says. They don't feel pain because it doesn't. No brain.
What?
Well, this
no
is
problem.
This is our same argument about plants,
like
though,
me,
right? No brain, no problem.
Yeah.
But like, does brain equal pain? Is pain a hormone and a hormone response in your body as a result of like safety, or is pain just a result of like a nerve response? Because the jellyfish have nerves, so if the jellyfish could technically still feel pain, but not be able to process the consequence of said pain, right?
This is getting deep, yeah.
So, jellyfish can feel pain, but jellyfish may not know what their feeling is.
Pain is, yeah. Do they feel pain?
According to my initial Googles, it says they have nerves.
This has become the research podcast with us.
Okay, hell, what is this?
But it's like that was just my genuine thought.
No pain receptors, though.
Yeah, but if they have nerves, they have to experience some sort of pressure or some sort of change in environment because they die. So like you can't just be like, oh, they just suddenly die with no feelings or nothing. Anyway, it's way too complicated to understand.
We're talking about pain in a human level. It's a different thing for animals and stuff. So,
right.
So like I think we're trying to make it relative to how we feel pain. Maybe animals feel pain completely different. Maybe this jellyfish's case has no concept of pain, so they don't know what it is. So when they die,
I mean, that's fine, but it's still kind of mean that we just put jellyfish in tubes and they have nowhere to like really swim and like stretch their bodies out and like, you know, do what jellyfish are supposed to do, like their little puffing thing that they do. They really just like, if you've ever seen them in the tubes, like they just sit there. At least at the zoo, the tanks that they have for them are really big, so you can see them like wobbling around.
Right.
But hobbyist tanks are literally like a tube. It's a little tube.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see where you're coming from, for sure.
Because like also the thought of like transporting them, right? Like they just put them in a bag and transport them. It's just like all these things I'm wondering, like, how do all the logistics work? That's the only thing I'm thinking. When I think of the deep ocean, I think all the logistics of, like, people who transport fish. That's what I'm thinking. And, like, removing them from, like, because in my mind, right, the ocean would be considered, like, a delicate environment. Like, yes, we as humans abuse the ocean, but for those specific animals living at specific depths, like, that's a very delicate environment for them to be removed from.
100%.
Is my thought.
This adds a very existential crisis. Question here. Well, you guys are saying they feel pain, right? It's at the in the end. Do you think? Where are you? In the end, do they think pain is do they think pain as the same way that we do? That is the question.
I mean, probably not.
So when they're living in, I see what you're saying, but when they're living in that, they probably have no idea what's going on, but they're feeling something, right? And they don't know if it's pain or not. It could be something else to them, completely different to them. But if it was us in that situation, then pain would be the thing, that because we understand it, we know what it is. They don't know what pain is to feel it.
Yeah, well, like quite literally, it's the same argument applied to plants, right?
Feel pain.
May feel pain, but does the plant recognize what pain is?
What pain is,
right? Because we've proven that if you cut a leaf off of a plant, it sends the receptors to say that the leaf's been cut off. But what does it interpret that as? You know?
Sadness. They're losing an arm. It's sad.
The plant knows that this is an arm. Like, there goes my arm.
Well, like it's true but that's the thing though, because like you said, if jellyfish don't have brains, how can they, feel anything or think anything, right? But it's the same thing with plants. Plants don't have brains, but yet they communicate with their entire bodies.
Yeah, but like they're not communicating in the name of pain. They're communicating in the name of action. That's
yeah, but it's still a form of communication. They're still communicating like what they need and how things are working. So
it's not pain.
Is there
It's not
okay? But what I'm saying is there's communication amongst the structure. So it's the same thing happening with jellyfish.
Yes.
And that maybe what they're talking about amongst the structure is this fucking sucks, get me out of the tube. That's what I'm saying.
We should
you guys are both like, okay, lady.
We should talk to some jellyfish and see what they think. I'm
gonna ask them.
If anything, like we kind of do agree with you, but like, what are we gonna say? Like, I'm running out.
But there's no answer.
Yeah. It's a philosophical question.
Yeah. It's way more.
Honestly, I'm just acting like a toddler right now, where I'm like, why? Because that's something that really bothers me. Well, not so much like why do they feel pain? It's just like the dynamics of like fish culture, I guess, like the way that people are with like fish animals or like water animals. Yeah. Like even just like, like think about there's people who own stingrays in their homes. Like how the fuck how do you transfer a stingray in a way that is like safe for a stingray? Because they are extremely delicate creatures, and I had somebody and I seen somebody on YouTube who had them, and they died relatively quickly within his care, and it's like, so obviously the distinct dynamics or the requirements of the water are not being met that's needed. Like, how are people allowed to, like, this is my thought, is like, we're removing these things from a delicate environment, because even just with like a goldfish, if you don't change their water correctly, 3 days dead. So it's like they're such delicate creatures, and we like put them in bags and take them to pet stores. Anyways, I'm just wondering like how the dynamics of like, that's just my thought. When I think of the deep ocean, I think we're removing these animals from their delicate environment and putting them in like a commercialized environment, and how the fuck does that even work? Is my thought.
So
I
this
agree.
But anyways,
has moved from the deep sea to do jellyfish think to
yes.
to stingrays. Do stingrays are stingrays comfortable and stuff? I like that.
And stuff.
Oh my gosh. But that's why, because after I watched that video you sent me, then I started watching videos on like animals that we know, like based on evidence that they existed at some point in the world. Maybe not in the way that we depict them, but their structure would be how we've seen them. And it's like, those animals are extinct now, and like some of these animals, like, it freaks me the fuck out. It does. When I think about that stuff.
Made animals extinct?
No, just like the existence of these like humongous animals.
Bailey, Mom is coming to terms that there's animals on the planet.
Okay, I know there's animals on the planet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys suck. No, but I was watching. So I watched a video to carry on to the other video, and I saw, because you guys know what a capybara is, right? Which is like a giant rodent, basically.
They're like the friendliest creatures on the planet.
Okay, right, so their ancestors were like 17 times the size.
Yeah, they were rats.
Okay? How the fuck? That's the size of like a fucking elephant.
Evolution?
Hello? But this is what I'm talking about. Like, that stuff freaks me out. You know that there's... I shouldn't trail on. But you know that there was a cobra, right? Because you know in Mexico in certain waters there's like this cobra that can live in the water or whatever, and that's how it moves, right? So there's a theory that, and this is why I'm talking about this animal, because it has to do with water. In theory, gravity doesn't affect animals the same way that gravity does on Earth, correct?
Yeah.
So there was a snake that grew to be like, I don't know, 18, 20 lengths of an alligator, and then even bigger than that, and it lived within an ocean. And we know that to be true because they have the bone structure from the bottom of the water. No. Because I'm thinking like there's a possibility that animals could adapt in those ways again. I mean, they went backwards. They could eventually go forward. What if we end up with another giant fucking snake?
We won't, because things are getting smaller and smaller, and we are the.
But look how deep the ocean is, Raza.
Yes, but look how fucked we are. In my research, I found out the deepest part of the ocean has pollution in it that is like actually killing a deep floor or deep sea creatures.
Oh, 100.
But yeah, let me let you continue talking about what you're talking about.
I was just gonna say, is the only reason I'm not scared of the same shit you're scared about. Like, I see what you're saying, I see what you're coming from with the evolution and all that. It's like, but it's also like a Chihuahua is still a dog, but a Chihuahua naturally evolved as a dog. Like, that was not a human-bred species.
Right.
That was like, we got these little tiny puppies, let's throw them in our fucking Inca temples. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as mind-blowing as it is, if like this big-ass Doberman can also be a Chihuahua, then I'm willing to believe that like my catfish can also eventually become a like jellyfish, you know?
Right.
That's the only thing that like calms me down about that environment. I think we take for granted how weird the evolutionary changes we already witness are.
Absolutely. Yes. I think about that all the time, because you think about the kimono dragon.
Komodo dragon, yeah.
Komodo dragon, yeah. That's literally a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally dinosaurs. Same with alligators.
Yeah.
Same with
your freaking robins in the backyard. Robins, blue jays, your
birds are dinosaurs, bro.
Yeah.
This is what that's fucking weird. I
know.
I rebuke. That's too overwhelming.
The pit bull, a random fact,
the
pit bull is what happens when human what it's human
intervention,
it's like not natural, which is
because pit bulls are literally the most like manipulated breed of dog, because you can literally mix any couple of breeds. Like, you don't even have to mix two pit bulls to make a pit bull. You could mix like any random breed and people would be like, pit bull. Yeah.
Which is, and it was jokes about cats. They chose to be domesticated. They're like, you take care of me now.
Yeah.
That's it.
yeah.
That's it.
We are your gods.
Yeah.
You will worship us.
It's like a meme.
That's the thing. Because dogs have been domesticated for very many, many, many years. Whereas cats are only newly domesticated within the last, I don't know, however many years, but they're technically newly domesticated. That's why we don't know a lot about cats as far as like breeds and like how to manipulate them and like where all these animals really truly come from, is because they're so newly domesticated.
It's crazy. Like a meme. That ancient Egyptian meme is like, do they still worship you? No, but they clean up my shit.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
True.
Anyways, back on the ocean. I'm just on the last couple points here, and then we'll open it up again. Back, the loudest sound that was ever recorded in the ocean was back in '97. Was near a volcano. Was while they were searching for an underwater volcano near South America. The deep sea mics that were set up 3,000 miles apart all caught the same noise, and it's been named the bloop.
Oh yeah,
it's like
I've heard that shit.
Is this the thing that they tried to say the whales did, or?
Yeah, the whales, or literal underwater volcano, but after 15 years, it was concluded that it may have been an ice quake, which is seismic activity under a frozen surface, but that is still up for speculation and stuff. So no one exactly knows what that was, which could. We will double back to that one again because of something that Bailey said earlier, which ties into that. But the world's longest mountain chain is under 65,000, which is 65,000 kilometers long, and only a small portion of it has been discovered. It is longer than what's the one called in Europe, the longest one on land.
What?
Whatever. The Indies. It's longer
Yes.
than the Indies. And the ocean can also change time. By the way, I did not know about this. Back in 2011, remember during the tsunami that hit Japan?
Yeah.
A big one. It shifted the Earth between 10 and 25 centimeters, which in turn caused the days to get shortened by 1.8 microseconds.
What?
That's terrifying.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't understand that in any capacity. The tsunami hit the Earth so hard that it shifted the Earth.
Yeah, and then like the
That's
orbit of the Earth
fucked.
sort of changed a little
it hit
bit.
the
Yeah.
shit so hard that it stopped spinning a little bit, so that technically like changes the pace of time.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah,
that.
well,
I don't like
yeah.
that either. I didn't know that fact. That's a good fact. That's a scary
I
fact.
don't want that.
That
Take it
means,
back.
Like
Well-
anything, every time there's a big ass earthquake, we lose time, literally.
Actually, no, not everybody. Anything that was over 5, whatever the magnitude 5, and then it was the aftershocks that also pushed it. The
You know how many
aftershocks.
Okay.
fucking, you know how many fucking 5s we had last year, right? Like,
Okay,
Oh.
okay, but let's do this because this just makes me feel better. Time is a human construct, so is it really time, or is it just the Earth is just doing a thing?
The Earth.
I think
is,
the Earth is just doing a thing. That's what we're gonna say.
Yeah, the Earth is just
done.
Yes.
the
Just
Earth
doing a
just
thing.
hit itself against the wall, and then it shifted.
Yeah, it was just a little hissy fit, you know.
It was like me on Saturday. I drank too much tequila, and I hit a wall.
See, you were just doing a thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I puked everywhere. Okay. It's usually so when you go deeper and deeper, obviously the water gets cooler, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Right? So it never goes. Ironically enough, it never goes below
Yeah,
zero.
it
like
stays
cock
just
teases.
above the point of freezing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cock
it like
teases, you're annoying.
cock teases it.
Yeah.
And the ocean, like it usually stays between 1 degrees and 4 degrees. However, elsewhere in the Marianas Trench near the thermal events, the temperature can go up to 450
Wow.
degrees. I know.
The hot.
So, like the thermal
So hot.
vents and shit. Is like,
Yeah,
how
like
does it get that
white.
hot?
So I was watching a video, one of the videos I sent to you, Raza.
And that's
And
the one I got this
molten-
from. Yeah.
It was literally molten lava. You could see the hot, like red, like on fire lava boiling under the ocean. But like
Yeah.
parts of it were starting to go black when it hit the water because that's like what happens naturally. But you could still see. You should watch the video, Bailey. You could
Yeah.
still see the red bits of like lava still clinging on to the heat that it was holding within the water, and it's the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
'Cause
I don't like
very
that at
hot.
all.
Yeah. It's
Because
like
water is like, how do you have fire? It's literally like fire underwater is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Fucked.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. But isn't there other gases down there
Yes.
at that point? Like that? Oh yeah. Okay, that's it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they weld underwater.
Carbon.
Yeah. they
Well,
use
there's
the same
carbon
magic.
monoxide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic.
What do you guys think the material? What do you guys think the material is down there? Like,
I know what it is.
is it okay, Bailey? What do you think?
What's your guess, Bailey?
Okay,
What
so
is your
like,
guess?
what do you mean?
You think it's
material?
sand?
How it feels, or like what it's like
Yeah.
at the bottom?
No, like what is at the
How it
bottom of the
feels.
ocean?
Yeah.
Like, it should be granite.
Is it?
Just granite, just hard
No.
ass fucking rock.
All right, that's
It's
fair.
you're close. You're actually pretty close. It is whatever has been falling down from the top for the last millions of years, but because of the water pressure down there, everything has been grinded up, just grinded
Yeah.
up into a black sludge. So it's just like
It's
this
basically carcass, is what it is.
yeah, it's all dead people.
animal carcass.
down there, and things.
So not sand.
Do the animal bodies decompose, or is it just like
it's not sand.
Bodies?
It's not sand. Yeah, it's carcasses. But you will also find
it's ground up like sand.
Yeah, so it has the same texture as sand, but not really.
So gross.
It's also sticky as well. And while you're doing that, you know what? When you walk down there, there will be things coming out at you.
No.
It's like small, like okay.
No.
Right.
I can't handle that thought.
So last.
Okay, go. Sorry.
No, not even.
Being a dick. If
like this big a fish.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. I see you. All right. Okay, we'll keep it moving, not to freak them out.
So last point, because so the ocean is also home to a very rare element that is nowhere found on this planet. It is a molten sulfur. It is not, and that's the only area. The Mariner's Trench is the only area where you can find it. The other area, Bailey, is the other place where you can find it is one of the moons of Venus.
Damn.
Can we unpack that you have a flip phone? Is that what you are using as a cell phone currently?
I was just playing with it. This is
which one is it? Is it a Motorola?
It's a Nokia. It's my grandfather.
Oh, a Nokia. So
my
cute.
Mom has an ass.
My little memento.
Cute. But yeah, no, the idea of like little fishies coming out of the bottom of the ocean makes me feel sick. Because I'm already afraid of sand on the beach. That like I'm always afraid that like some creature is gonna be like, "Oh, I'm here! Don't step on me!" And I can't. I can't.
If Indiana Jones just comes out of the sand like, "I'm Harrison Ford," and fucking goes.
Oh my god!
And then mom is like, "Ah!"
Well, because when I was a kid, we would go to the cottage on the weekends. My aunt had a cottage, and so we would go there. And there was any number of things that we had to worry about in the water. It was rock bass, which have the spiky fins on their top of their heads, which are like literally, I don't touch them at all. And then there's crayfish in the rocks, and you have to be careful because it's all rocks in the bottom of the lakes. And if you like step on a rock and a crayfish comes out and like pinches your little toe, or water snakes.
Oh yeah. Fine.
And water snakes are like that will kill you in the water dead, and they'll bite anybody. Yeah, and they are scary, and they are fucking fast. Yeah. So for me, water is a fear.
Yeah,
things in water.
Yeah, that's why I've never seen Jaws.
Can't see. Jaws is good though. You should watch it.
I should, but no. But okay, let's go, because Bailey had a good point about aliens that I want to get into. That the seismic activity that happened in '97 that they're speculating could be an ice quake, right? But no one knows if it was an ice quake because no one has been down there. So people could think there could be creatures because there's no creature down there that can make that loud of a noise, and there's nothing down there that can make that loud of a noise that we know. There could be, the conspiracy theorist is that like there may be an outside creatures that just inhabit still down there.
See, I've heard this argument before, but I've also heard some marine biologists say that they think that it's whale sounds and like they think that it just the way that it travels is that it's made its way low enough to vibrate something to cause a shift under the water. That's what I've heard, because their sound is quite loud, and it does, I guess, live on a certain vibration. So it's possible.
It's just been brought up again recently with all of this like Tic Tac news, right? Of like, and the American government. Yeah, the little flying Tic Tacs that the American government saw.
What? What?
You're so...
I didn't see this.
I thought you were a hip wine, Mom. Thought you were
well, not when it comes to aliens. I know they're alive, and I prefer not to bother them.
Okay, so everyone's talking about it again around this time of year because the American government is about to release like a declassified report on what they see these unidentified objects as. They've been talking about it for a few months now. It's going to come out soon. What happened previously was the U.S. Air Force released a footage of them. They literally had this tic-tac-shaped object, and it was like last year, I think maybe 2 years ago now with Rona, and it was a fighter jet pilot, literally, and it was the audio of a fighter jet pilot. Okay, this thing's like flipping around. All right, it's going left. All right, I have literally no idea what this is, and I'm watching it, and I have no idea what this is. And the U.S. Air Force actually like revealed this shit.
Send me. Send me this, Bailey.
I'll send you later. And then with that shit is like now all those alien conspiracy theorists, now because it's becoming a factual thing that the governments are discussing, right? All these conspiracy theorists are like, yeah, they're in the ocean. They go to the ocean. They definitely go to the ocean. Because if we can't track them legally, they got to go down. It's got to be down. That's where the new theory is.
So now I don't think that they're hiding to go down. Let's just say that. What I can say is, based on some of the things that Raza has said over this time, is there's certain environments that only exist on planets. So it's possible that maybe they have discovered by themselves what's under the ocean, but whether they are down there hanging out, I don't know. But I'm just saying, based on the fact that like they are able to be, because you assume aliens are able to land on other planets. That's the assumption of what people think aliens do, right? Yeah. So if those environments exist on other planets that they have possibly visited, it's possible that they could have reached the depths of our oceans already and been like, we're just going to peace out. Just a thought.
I know.
Also...
And then it's also just the idea is like if they have advanced sciences, if like you said, if the bottom of the ocean is so like similar to space, we're kind of being naive by thinking that if the aliens
that we can't.
If they need to get away from our dumb asses, that they're gonna go up rather than just down where they literally cannot see, right? Like,
I mean, depending on
between continents, they're like, oh, there's a fighter jet. You know what? Rather than dip the whole planet, why not just go where they can't see us?
Right.
and low key, we are that dumb to look up when they're down and stuff. We're like, I wonder if there's life up there. Meanwhile, they're having a club down there, chilling with giant squids and whatnot, and we're like, sea creatures, but no, they're fucking aliens. Like,
well, I mean. Right, but also think about, so like this is where my true crime brain does like a little tick, right? Is because think about those explorers that died on the mountain. They were on that really tall, I don't think it was Mount Everest. I can't remember what mountain it was, but there was a group of explorers that were all found like naked on the top of a mountain, and like all their clothes were scattered everywhere, and people were like, they're dead, but like there's literally no way that we could have known of what happened. Now, I don't want to speculate because I don't 100% remember, but I know that there was some idea of like they didn't die of hypothermia. So it's like, what did they actually die of? And so it's like, could aliens, this is super like conspiracy theory, like aliens exist. Like this is like that guy with all the crazy hair that's like aliens, right? But it's like, what if, right? But what if they had a hub there? Because technically a lot of people have not made it to that certain altitude because it's not safe. So it's like, what if they were just up there chilling and they were like, dessert,
I've seen
Let's get them.
I've seen that one used for Sam Squanch. That one is the Sam Squanch.
Yes, I have, yeah.
That's specifically that story I saw as Sam Squanch's, but I'm down.
I mean, I don't think I don't think the Sasquatch is what that is. I think the Sasquatch is a real. I genuinely believe. Anyways, I've talked about this to you guys before. I think that Bigfoot and Sasquatches are real because theoretically, if you look at the way that animals have adapted and changed over time, it's possible. I mean, I also think that like unicorns are possible. And when people hear me say that, they're like, you're crazy, unicorns, like that's a mystical creature. Yeah, but Norwhales though. Yeah. Okay? Rhinos though, right? Cows, right?
I feel you, but I think the
theoretically
I think the bigger benefit to your argument, right? That's a point you could use that I try to point to is, especially as we have this deep sea argument, right? It's like literally we barely have a little bit of it mapped. We get cocky because we have Google Maps and all of these modern technologies.
Right.
but there's literally a whole third of North America is just an unmapped forest, right? It's just running from the mountains down the states. It's on a map, but it's not like there's someone Googling and checking every fucking corner of it consistently every single day, right? Like, there could be, Lord knows, like, so that's where my Sam Squanch comes in, is applying the deep sea thing to the forest of, like, we can only map out a certain amount of it. So as much as we're sitting there thinking we know what's good, there's very viably some weird monkeys living in there that we never met.
And this is the same argument that I've had before, because how many bugs do we discover a year? Exactly. New bugs we're discovering all the time, right? But I also think about how, I think it was like maybe 4 years ago, there was a drone that was being flown over a specific area in the rainforest, and they found a completely uncontacted tribe in there, and they were like throwing spears and arrows at this like drone because they had no fucking idea what the fuck it was, because they were completely uncontacted tribe just minding their own business out there. So it's like, if that's possible, if there are human beings that we have not had contact with that are like living in primal ways, why couldn't there be other animals that we don't know about, or species on other planets, right? It's possible.
I personally agree. I think it's a little wacky. I'm not necessarily saying it's the same Squanch or that it's like some intelligent humanoid creature, but like, I would be willing to believe that there's some monkeys or some weird creature that's like aware that humans kind of suck.
Yes.
So they've kind of avoided them eternally because they realize we always try to kill them when we find them. So now it just happens to be the 20th century. They're like, we're going to avoid the fuck out of these animals. And so we haven't caught them on camera because of that.
Right.
But
well, because there are humans that have genetic disorders where they grow hair all over their body. So why couldn't there be technically a standing creature? This is what I mean. Like, if you think about genetics of it, right? That's where my brain goes. Not some conspiracy theorist like, ooh, magical thing. It's like, no, these things exist. It's possible.
That's the whole fun. You want to go down the path of Native Americans and why Native Americans talked about giants. Well, the Bible also did. That's a whole other fucking world.
Right.
That's a whole world of like, oh, maybe humans
exactly
were able to do that. Maybe this is because coincidentally, a lot of the Navajo and a lot of Native American tribes have a lot of mythology about giants at coincidentally the same time that David and Goliath would have been happening. So,
But also, we've had human beings grow to be gigantic in stature. So it's like, if our human genetics are capable of these things, such as growing full body hair, or being extremely tall, or, you know, having different adaptive features, or growing extra fingers. Because people are always like, oh, an extra finger is just a genetic default. And it's like, but is it though? Or is it something along our genetic line that some people are able to grow those things, maybe not completely because they're not useful to us anymore? Maybe we did have 11 fingers at one point in time. Yeah. Who are we to know?
I see what you're saying.
Yes, but like we're still also evolving, because I was reading a couple months ago is that there's supposed to be either in our feet or in our hands somewhere, you're supposed to see a certain bone or a vein, and if you don't see it, then you are quote unquote genetically superior and stuff, because that thing is a sign of evolution.
But see, I don't see that. Not having it, I don't think would make you genetically superior.
No,
I think
but like,
it would make you
as
genetically
I said,
superior.
We are still evolving. So like,
yeah.
But when a person doesn't have that bone, they're already like moving up on the evolutionary ladder, because they're changing. I
just think when you look back at what people looked like, even in like the 13th century and all those like vintage like paintings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even if you just look back at then, a lot of the genetics of people then have changed significantly to like what we're looking like now. Right?
Yeah,
and even if you think about with sciences as well, like how we're able to like fend off diseases and stuff like that. Because like maybe we were meant to die out by diseases and stuff like that, just how the dinosaurs died to the asteroid, right?
You say God did that?
No, I didn't say God.
God did that? You say I don't care. I thought it was chance.
But because in one of this is why I'm thinking about all this stuff, because in one of the videos that I saw, it talked about how there were multiple stages of extinction. So there was like one that was an asteroid, one that was like a fire, another one that was some sort of a water thing, another one that was like ice, and it wasn't like, oh, God did this. It was like, no, the Earth like was repairing itself. And stuff like that makes me scared for us, because what if the Earth decides to repair itself of us? Because there is a theory that the Earth has what it needs in order to repair itself.
Yeah, I'm gonna scare you a little bit more.
Great.
We're in the midst of we are currently in the middle of an extinction event. It's like the second or third one or fourth one, I think, planet Earth has had, and we're seeing it happening. Like, you literally can see things around us. Animal species are going away. We are dying off in huge numbers now. There's like climate change and stuff. All these things are part of the extinction event that's happened before. It's just, as you said, or the nature repairing itself, because nature will always find a way.
I don't know if I think that I don't know if what's currently happening on Earth, I don't think if we'll experience another full extinction yet. I think that's still quite a few years away, but I think the Earth, not to say because COVID is its own event, right? But in a way, the Earth is trying to repair itself, and that's because of our overpopulation. Like, we have more cows than we do some animals that we should have more of, you know? Like, you think about with the polar bears and how the ice caps are literally just melting all the time, and the polar bears are just slowly dwindling, right? Eventually, the only polar bears we're going to have left are what's in captivity.
Yeah. That's some more
tough times at Ridgemont High. The polar bears keep getting younger, and I keep getting older. But
wait, what? Wait, we're gonna talk about what you just said there. That's like
making a Clive, not Clive.
I know.
Owen Wilson joke.
But does he want to do something with the bears? What's going on?
I don't want to do nothing with the bears. But that was
PETA, don't yell at us.
The nerd relativity. That was also the topic of Death Stranding. Was exactly that. Was the humans have been putting off their extinction event far too long. And
so it's not that deep. Stop making it deep, Bailey.
No, I agree, but I agree that we're seeing like an extinction level event, but at the same time, when you start talking about like karmic level forces and the cycle of things and where it's meant to go, like. At the same time, we're seeing an extinction level event, but how the fuck do any of us know that's not the direction it was supposed to go?
Right.
I mean, I kind of like because when we look at an invasive species, right, they throw off the balance of the ecosystem, and now the balance needs to be restored. And what's the best way of restoring it? Restarting, right? That's what Mother Nature has done over and over and over again, right? She just needs to find get the balance back. Then
you take it to Mass Effect level of scales, though, man, right?
It's a video game, bro. You can't.
But it's still the sci-fi of the fucking. Which one came first, though? The robots or the people, right? Like, because as much as you want to fucking say that is like we're deteriorating it and the Earth needs to rebalance its cycle and blah blah blah, as we're speculating with like humans and a human perspective on it, what if that perspective is biased?
Okay, well, that's a big
look at nature. Hold up. Look at nature itself, right? That's like the prime example. We're seeing species go extinct, literally, and what happens? The entire ecosystem, because everything is connected, it gets thrown off. Like for example, bees, right? We're seeing bees numbers drop down,
Right.
and now our food stuff is being impacted by that too. So
Yeah.
when Mother Nature looks at that and she says there's something wrong with the process here, what is wrong with that?
But if we're like a singular being, right? Our only existence, our only benchmark is that one relationship we have with Mother Earth, right?
Yes.
How do we know that's not the way things are supposed to go? How do we know that half of those animals aren't supposed to go completely extinct while one finds supremacy? How do we know that they're not going to cycle out and then another ice age is going to happen and we're just going to have another half of that animal diversity repopulate itself?
Well, aren't we speeding up the process because of like we are literally speeding up that thing? So that sort of answers that kind of
I don't think so. I don't think it answers that because we don't have.
Well, when you
what happened 100 million years ago, right? Like we have no.
Well,
idea.
ultimately,
maybe that there's so many dinosaurs. I'm just giving my last point is just like maybe there was so many dinosaurs that farted so much that they also caused CO2 poisoning. Like how the fuck are we supposed to know the impacts of what the previous animals or the previous other creatures who existed on this planet had on this?
You have historical relevancy and context to.
Do they?
To it.
How?
Do we do? Not them.
How?
We do.
We have historical relevance.
Well, we surpass them.
To the point that people wrote about Jesus. That's literally it. That's 3,000 years. This shit's been
But
around
we also
for
have
years.
evidence of like what happened to the dinosaurs. We have evidence of that.
We just have evidence of impact craters and made like empirical choices based on like, so impact crater happens, this happens, extinction level event happens. But how do you know what was happening before that? Like, how do you know that there wasn't global warming before the meteor hit? How do you know that there wasn't an ice age as a result of a overpopulation
I'm pretty sure
like T-Rexes? Right?
What
like,
they
how
do.
You have no evidence of what the causality was. That's the mystery of the situation.
I'm not in any position to answer that, but I feel like we're missing a huge chunk of that, and I feel like the people who know this know, like, somehow and stuff.
I've read about it a lot, and the big issue is like the fact that there's a big chunk. Like, there's a whole chunk that nobody has the answer for. There's a chunk where the fucking dinosaurs existed, Neanderthals happened, and then somehow like 200 million years happen and humans exist, right? No one knows what happened in those 200 million years prior. Could have been another animal race, could have been the dinosaurs, you know, like literally no one knows what caused.
Wasn't it our common ancestor though?
Well, that's what I said earlier.
I just found out that there's 3 different common ancestors we've had like, this year. So how do we know that's the fact? That's what I'm trying to say.
Don't know that's a fact.
Exactly. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say
That's the great thing about science. No, that's the great thing about science as opposed to a religion. Nothing is concrete, right? So like we can always we're going to go in circles, but like we've seen like there has been recorded history of these cycles. Like look at
what recorded history.
We've had multiple extinctions. There was multiple happenings of these things, right? So that's where they are able to take their evidence from. So yes, I agree with you. There was years where we don't have answers, but they can at least say this happened at this many thousand years ago, and this many thousand years ago we had multiple instances of a wipeout, and that's where they're basing their research off of, which I agree with you. And this is when you said the thing about the robots, is I think like we spend way too much time developing technology and not enough time understanding what we're actually living on that is possibly going to be gone. I don't give a fuck about a robot wiping my ass. I care about, are we going to actually have an Earth for a robot to wipe my ass in 100 years?
That's where I definitely agree with you, and that's where I think we come in. It's just like my big quick thing is like, y'all said even before, like in a lifetime, in 2 lifetimes, these animals can evolve in such drastic, crazy, inconceivable ways. So if there's even a gap of 50,000 years, if there's a gap of 1,000,000 years, there's literally a gap of 100 million years that we don't know what happened here, right? So it's like Lord fucking knows, right? It could have been another intelligent creature, could have been Lord knows.
Like the biggest example that I point to, and I hate doing it, but like now there's some weight to it, is the Bible. Like the story about like the dude who took 2 species of Noah's Ark, right?
Yeah.
What in the Bible it said there was a massive flood. It rained for 7 days, 7 nights, whatever. But science, like, but it did rain for a crazy amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And this had happened just after the Ice Age too, when the Earth was like cool, when the Earth was becoming like it is now and stuff. So like there is like recorded history, but not in the sense that we think it is. We look at them as stories, essentially. Like what happened to like in Rome, like in Greek, like look at Greek literature, bro. It talks about these gods fighting, right, amongst one another, and you know what they are? Earthquakes that have wiped out civilizations overnight. Pompeii, the biggest one, right? So like like there is some sort of like cycle that happens over and over again, and like the difference between now and then is that now we can actually view it. Now we have things to like record it. And also now we're speeding up the entire process.
But what I'm saying is, it's a very human thing to presume that it's like a cycle, like in its very self. It's a very human thing to sit there and think, oh, this is a pattern, so it must repeat regularly and we're all doomed to die. Right?
It is a pattern, bro. But in today's time, we are throwing that pattern off because, as I said, we are speeding things up. And that throws the whole balance off. There is a pattern. But over time,
but from our existence, if we are animals in a scale of evolution, right? Evolution happens, intelligence is created, civilization is created, social networks are created. How do we know that's not the natural cycle?
Well, we don't.
We don't know. It's relative to each fucking time. So that's
I hear what Bailey's trying to say is like, what if this is what's supposed to happen and we're not actually speeding anything up, right? That's what he's trying to say, which is totally a valid thought. Like, definitely, what if this is what's supposed to happen? But I think we can see with like, and this is just us assuming, but we can see like the cause and reaction of what we're doing, because that people have said, and this is like the thing with the cows, people have said before, stop obsessively breeding cows. It's ruining the ozone layer. Like as human beings, like if you're trying to be real meta about it and be like, life is predetermined and we were meant to make all these cows and do this, sure. But we can see that it's human greed of people needing to be consumers, and that's why cows are bred to the extreme that they are. So we know that we have caused, because the scientists had said, if you continue to go this way with the meat industry, this is what's going to be the reaction. And so in Raza's defense, what he's saying is, we know what's causing the problem, and instead of going, oh, maybe we should just chill out on this, we sped that problem up by breeding more cows, tearing down more earth.
And on top of that, and sorry, just I want to say one last thing. And on top of that, this time period, if you've not noticed, in like most of recorded history, this time period we have been in has been the quickest. So it's been the most different. Post-industrial revolution, it's been super quick. Prior to that, stuff like it would just go on with time. But now with industry.
We have no history of what happened before the ancient Greeks.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about recorded history, the thing that we have done, right? Classic recorded history and like stuff we have now. We can at least, we don't have to look at the stuff that we don't know. We can look at the stuff that we know and see, okay, there's how the Greeks like lived, there's how the Romans lived, and these how the Egyptians lived, and
Right.
there was a pattern there. We saw that pattern for like so many civilizations, but for us, why is it different? Why is it super different
like
for
I
us?
think it's personally selfish to like account all of our experiences on this planet based off of the few thousand years that we've been writing it on paper. And I don't necessarily think it's like predetermined, like Wine Mom pointed out. I don't think it's predetermined at all. I just think in that same perspective, we're measuring time, we're measuring impact based on humanity, right? Like, that's a very selfish point in itself, right? If the ecosystem is meant, maybe ecosystems are inherently imbalanced, and we haven't realized that.
Well,
maybe
I don't think it's...
Maybe an apex predator is meant to ruin the food chain every single time, and a food chain inevitably destroys itself. We wouldn't know because we weren't able to witness the millions of years that happened before we started writing it down, right?
I don't know if that's necessarily a selfish point of view so much as we're reading what science has given us, like what little bit of science has been able to tell us. Because to Raza's point, right? Because I'm trying to hear both of you guys, and I agree with both of you. I understand where you're both coming from. But what I think about is I think like there are certain things from history that we can look at our current history that we're making and see the differences, right? Because when you think about like, you know, the Revolutionary era, that was a very long era. It was like hundreds of years of living in that lifestyle. And then you look at our lifestyle is like every 10 years we can mark our entire development. Because if you think back from the 90s to the 2000s to the 2010s, right? In my own life generation that I'm living, right? I can see how we went from literally no fucking computers to a big clunky to computer to literally a handheld computer. And that's extreme fast technology that we're developing as a species,
it shouldn't happen that quickly.
I mean, that's relative, really, right? Things can develop however they develop, right? But what I'm saying to Raza's point is, like, I can see how our generation, our generational species, whatever you want to call it, our current evolution is so extreme. Because we're going from fighting with, like, swords and big rocks to literally developing technologies, new extreme technologies and health advances and everything within every 10 years, sometimes less.
That's my hippie conspiracy thing. My thing is if we literally don't know what was happening before the Greeks, we have no idea if this was the first time we had to start from fighting with rocks. We have no idea if we were the first ones fighting with rocks. We have no idea if literally an alien species could have developed here, fucked off, and then the meteor hit the Earth and killed all the dinosaurs.
Which I agree.
Which could be true, Bailey. It could be true.
Yeah.
It could be true. It could be true.
There's no one's disagreeing.
I know. Yeah. So just want to make, just trying to clarify is that it's like not selfish in terms of anyone or you like anyone of you or us. It's selfish in terms of humanity to presume that all time in history and evolution is based upon the scale that we can perceive it on. I think that's selfish.
I don't know if selfish is the word, more so as ignorant, because we don't have enough information. That's the thing, is like it's the same thing as me,
being.
Right, but it's the same thing as me saying, like, just because you don't know everything that you specialize in, that, like, you're selfish in assuming that the only answer you know to be correct is the only answer, right? It's not so much selfish as in uneducated. Maybe there's other options. Maybe there's other things that we need to look at. And this is why I said, you know, as human beings, we spend too much time moving forward and not enough time understanding what's happening.
Well, that's why I approach the argument so vicariously. Like, I support what you're saying, Wine Mom, there with that final point. But you started, we all started off this conversation. I will join in. I will accept that too. We all started literally this conversation saying, like, no, this is the fact. Like, but this is how science perceives it. But this is how this sees it. But this is how it is. Like, this is how it's been listed, right? Like, so as soon as you're saying that, then you are placing it within those confines.
Well, which I understand, but as a species that we are currently at, like where we currently are, the only thing that we know to be true, whatever facts we have, is what's been currently recorded within our, you know, lifespan, within our generation, I guess, whatever our development as a species, right? We literally only have what has been recorded. So for us, like, it's a fact based on, like, that's what we have recorded. That is the knowledge that somebody wrote down. It's like, if you wrote down, today I ate a hamburger. If that's true and you did that, you ate that hamburger, I can't say 10 years later and be like, that's not factual because I wasn't there to see it. Well, you wrote it down, and that's your fact. So for us as scientists, right, I'm saying as a scientist, you look at that historical record and go, okay, Bailey ate a hamburger. That's what he wrote down. That's his historical record. So we know now in the future that that was an indefinite thing that happened, right? So when you say with the meteors and the dinosaurs and stuff like that, I understand we weren't there to witness that. But when we're talking about this, where we currently exist in the worlds that we've developed in, where we've come from, you know, an animal into a human being, which is still an animal, but we only have that recorded history that we're kind of stuck to interpret the way that we interpret it. Right? It's that's the knowledge we have.
Yeah, I think so.
Are we stuck though? That's where I disagree.
Yes.
Unless we can, because we can't relate our experiences to animals though, or like anybody else.
No,
we're only going by off of our history.
Right. The only reason
we know.
Right. The only reason why we're stuck is because we don't spend enough time understanding. Because
that's where I agree with you. That's where I agree with you. That's why I don't think we're stuck. I think we're looking in the wrong places. I wholesomely agree with you. Right. I don't think we are stuck. I think we are looking at the sciences in the wrong way. I think we're looking at we're not looking at ourselves. We're not looking at our existence. We're not looking at the planet and why we all share this symbiotic relationship. I think, personally, like you make the most valid point here. Right, that sciences aren't adequate because we're not considering our immediate environment. We're going off of the word that other humans wrote in a book rather than researching what's around us.
Well, because we're going off the assumption that at that time, that was their peak science, right? It's the same thing. Like, we're still trying to understand how the Romans understand, because astrology is even something that we're like, okay, we all believe and follow and understand it. I mean, not everybody believes and follows and understands it, but to a degree, we're like, okay, this is what astrology is. But we don't actually really know that that's what they were depicting astrology to be, right? Mm-hmm. So we're just kind of going off whatever knowledge we know. It's in hopes that, because this is why it ties into Raza's point, is because, like, yes, we're evolutionizing way too quickly, and we're not spending enough time understanding. And, like, in all honesty, we have way too much ignorance about, like, how humans have come to where we are, how the Earth functions, and things like that. Like, only within the last, I want to say only within the last, I don't know, well, maybe we'll say 100 years. I'm not 100 years old, but there are some people who've been around that long. And I feel like only within that time have people went and go, oh, fuck, maybe we should, like, think about this atmosphere that we're living in. And that's why they're spending so much time going to space and doing all that stuff. And that's why we're talking about aliens. Because it's like, this is why I believe in, like, mystical creatures, I get using air quotes, because we don't definitively know that they did not exist, because you haven't found a skeleton to tell me that whether it does or doesn't exist, or whether it was or wasn't possible. So that's where your 2 points actually are the same point in a way, because Raza's saying we're moving too quickly, and you're saying yes, because we don't actually understand where we came from.
I'll take that. I think that's a good way to conclude it. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Take it, Raza.
I know. I said yeah. I'm not taking.
No, I like that. I can support that. I'm down with that.
I'm just trying to say, like, both of you are valid, but you guys have to see where your points are meeting in the middle and, like, becoming the same point in a weird way.
No, I get it. I see the logic.
Yeah.
I just think like nature has to throw itself or put itself back in normal position.
Things find a way, as per Jurassic Park.
Things find a way, and like any day tomorrow, we could be wiped out because Mother Nature says so.
Well, see, and that's my biggest fear, right? Is that the Earth is going to be like, you know what? I tried to give you guys a chance, and all you're doing is making robots, and I'm done with this, because that's not important. Like, I will say, you know, as far as technology has gone, the way that we can repair human bodies is amazing. But it's like, we need to focus on those things and not focus on, you know, artificial intelligence.
And making us live longer is like playing is going quote unquote
very dangerous, very dangerous,
quote unquote going against the natural order of things.
It's gonna cause extreme overpopulation because you cannot tell people that they cannot continue to have children. Like if they decided, okay, we've now discovered, okay, let's just do a hypothetical here, right? Let's say somebody had discovered that, like, we now have the technology so that every human being on Earth currently can now live forever. You can grow up and you can just keep growing. How do we tell the younger generation, okay, because we'll never die, you cannot have any more children? How can we do that to them, right? That's not fair. So if we're working so hard for eternal life, right, because that's technically what we're trying to do, is work for towards eternal life, eventually, like, either the Earth is going to get wiped out because we're going to use up all its resources trying to live forever, or it's going to be the same thing of, like, how do we not overpopulate, because how do we tell people they can't have children?
You ready?
Oh, yeah.
You ready to be terrified? This is what I've been.
You're gonna bring up this stuff in China?
No. Well, that's why you should be scared that Jeff Bezos and Elon are so obsessed with going to space, because they know something we don't.
No, I know.
But
fuck off.
But Bailey hasn't seen a movie. Bailey has not seen a movie made by the dude who made District 9 called Elysium.
I have seen Elysium. What you saying?
I've seen it. It's so good.
I love me some Matt Damon.
No, but that's the point, though, that Bailey's making, right? Because it is possible that we may turn into... Canada may turn into... Or not Canada, sorry. I don't know why I just said that. Earth itself may turn into a third world country altogether, because another race may move on and be like, well, now we are, you know, quote-unquote, a superior race, right?
Yeah.
That's a strong possibility. And that's why we need to stop fucking with everything all the time.
But you know what's jokes? Like Elon Musk wants to terraform Mars. And I don't understand the science behind that, but it's gonna be jokes when he does it, because it isn't a permanent like antidote. He needs to do it like every, I think, 20 to 30 years or something, because the Mars atmosphere will just reset
wipe it out
itself. Yeah, just go. It's like the same thing. Yeah, Bailey, let him go and do it up there. Let's see what happens on a planet he has no idea.
I'm down with
well, I'm always thinking about how as human beings, the way that we evolutionize things, and what a cute chunker.
Oh my god.
But I think about the way that as people, like as human beings, the way that we prioritize what we choose to advance, right? So it's like we care so much about getting to another planet and living on another planet, but yet there's scientists that are working on literally growing meat, like learning how to make animal meat in a lab that is safe and edible. And instead of focusing on that to where we can lower the emissions and we can stop overbreeding cows, we're like, no. We gotta go to space. It's like, no. Let's make the meat for all these obsessive meat eaters who can't get over it. Let's give them the meat that's made in the science lab, so that we can stop overbreeding cows. Maybe let's stop doing that.
How the resident vegan here is saying, let's just make meat. Let's just make meat, guys. Okay, calm down.
Like, because see, in that sense, what I mean is, like, that solves a moral issue, because now we're not killing anything, but it also solves the hunger issue, because now we can produce meat in a lab. I mean, you guys are already eating lab grade meat. Let's be real. All that meat that you eat is pumped with whatever the farmers and whatever is getting pumped. Like, you eat so many hormones and other shit in your meat already. Might as well just get it from the lab. Save the middleman. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I do agree. Like, the similar argument is made with, like, petroleum-based fuels. Like, we're sitting here saying, we need to save the environment and we should start using electric cars, but we're not saying, like, how do we get rid of all the cars that use gas already, right?
Well, and that's another thing, too, is, like, as technology advances, we're making it so expensive that there's people who would love to do that, but can't do that. I would love to have a car that ran on electricity and, like, a solar panel on top. I would fucking love that, because then I wouldn't be contributing to the atmosphere destroying, right? But it's not accessible financially. But when you think about like
kinda
lab
like
grade
that.
meat, that does become financially accessible because if you're able to make it easily enough, once they fine tune the system, it just becomes another warehouse producing something. Anyways, these are just thoughts. These are just random thoughts I have, like when we talk about technology and advancements and like the earth and how the earth is deteriorating. Because for me, it's not about like, oh, everybody eats animals. You're so mean and you're so selfish and they're sentient. Like, yes, that's all a valid point that I have and that I feel. But at the same time, I'm also thinking about like the economical structure of Earth is not going to be able to handle it for much longer. And if we can do something to improve it so that you can continue to advance your technology, why not? Right?
And I think you just summarized our thoughts perfectly. After all that arguing, after all that fighting,
Yeah.
I think you brought it around to a good ending point there. I like that. Raza, would you like to conclude us, or do you want me to conclude us?
I will to add on to Wine Mom's point. I just looked up the vegan trends. As of 2020, veganism is on the rise.
Yeah. Because of this
distinct
reason. Yeah.
Yeah. More people.
I support it. I think that's why.
Here it says, it in the States alone, it went up 0.4%, which is still a big number.
It's huge.
Because it's like 3. Yeah,
Right.
so
You ready for a contrasting trend though? Because I looked this up. Veganism is going up, but at the same time, the favorite meat of meat eaters is going back to beef. So it's this confusing, conflicting dichotomy that's happening.
Well, we can thank keto diets for that. That stupid diet that's been going on.
Fuck keto diets,
Joe
man.
Rogan.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
They're so unhealthy for you, but that's another rant for another
it
podcast.
literally could kill you so much faster than if you just ate a fucking vegetable.
Bailey and I talked about it. Like, I have a friend who harps on keto diets. Like, he's already lean, and then I saw him.
Yeah.
He looks not healthy anymore.
No.
But in 2019, it was the year of the vegan because it reached an all-time high, and it's been.
Yeah. Say in my previous work environment, there were 2 meat eaters in the entire environment. All the rest of us did not eat meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I believe that's pretty cool. It's still small number, like it still starts. I believe when people start like fully changing their lifestyle, not as hardcore as some people, but like just make small adjustments, the bigger thing will just make. Like the bigger picture.
Well, exactly. And that's the biggest argument I have with my friends is like, I'm not telling you to never eat meat again. I'm just saying maybe have it once or twice a week.
My mom is like that too.
So what is our inclusion to wrap up this pod then, my friend?
Yeah, the deep deep ocean is fucking terrifying.
That's how you bring it back. Good. Yeah, expert storytelling. Thank you, Roz. I appreciate how you tie us all back together.
No, I just like okay. So one more point since we're talking about this.
I gave you one more point.
Mars.
Wine Mom closes off well.
Mars has we have mapped out Mars better than we have mapped out the ocean.
Thank you.
Done.
Yeah,
Thank you, universe. We appreciate you. But no, seriously, that was a good heated discussion. We appreciate those that stuck by. We did have a few. We're going to switch to our Let's Chat. If you watch us live, we're live on Mondays. When we're done our podcast, you can hang out and talk with us. If not, you catch it edited on Fridays if we remember to put it out on time. And hopefully it will be straight to your phone soon. So rather than introduce, I'm just going to run through it. We got Bailey here. We got Raza over there. And we got Wine Mom in the middle. Because the Wine Mom takes care of us. So she needs to be in the middle. Because otherwise, me and Raza would chop our heads off by the end of the podcast. So thank you for tuning in, fam. That was a good heated debate. I liked it. I tune in for more. And now we're switching to Let's Chat. And you can hang out and chat with us finally. Okay, done.